Two. I'll read the announcement. Starts. Okay, this is Nikki Rowland, Chair of HSAB. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Lucy.
Yes.
Angus.
Here.
Jason.
Yes.
And Brooke. Connecting. So Brooke's still connecting. And staff members, Holly.
Present.
Thank you. And no anticipated speakers. So this open meeting of the Historic Structures Advisory Board is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. For this meeting of the HSAB is convening by video conference via Zoom app, as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join in. Participants may find information on the conduct of this meeting at that location. Each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. So now, is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
Yes.
Seconded by that, and then all those in favor, Lucy.
Aye.
This Jason.
Aye.
Brooke's still not with us. I'm in favor. And approval of minutes, we don't have any. So I think we can move on to number 1, 13 Fayette Street. Is that where we have here? Yes. Yep.
I didn't see that in the packet.
You know, there are 2 packets. And I didn't see the other packet. So, but I just found him 5 minutes ago. So there's the old business packet and the new business packet.
Oh, because I got this straight from Kadim's email that he sent to everybody. I didn't.
It was all there. I just didn't
Yeah.
open both of them till a little bit.
They're separating, which is very helpful. Old business and new business, based on the meeting, and you'll see that on your agenda as well. Old business dated May 3rd, and then new business dated May 18th. Those are those deadlines. So they correlate with the HDC's agenda, so it should be helpful.
Yeah, I think it is. I just now I have to be aware that there's 2 view packs.
Yes.
Anybody hear me?
Just barely.
How about now?
Better.
Better.
Yeah.
All right.
Still having problems, Brooke?
It's only with this meeting.
All right, we'll do our best. Okay, so she has made changes. She got rid of the 3rd floor deck. And is there anybody here to represent this one? It doesn't look like it. So no, but the chimney still persists without any changes to the chimney. So that's really what it's coming down to. How do we feel about that exterior chimney?
And she had mentioned she wanted to provide photos of other exterior chimneys, and that's what she's done here.
Yes, she has.
This is an existing chimney, and the application is to remove it, or to no, to add another one. Okay.
Yeah, see the upper left is existing. They want to add a new one. And it's still not drawn properly, because when you look at the floor plan, there are 2 fireplaces, one on the 1st floor, one on the 2nd floor. And the fireplace that she's showing on the 2nd floor does not show the flue coming by it up from below. So it's not going to fit within the space that she's showing. It's going to be bigger, and so I don't really like this. Is because we don't like to approve fireplace chimneys outside. But part of me is saying, well, all right, maybe if you get rid of the 2nd floor fireplace and you have a very narrow chimney coming up the outside, I could consider it, but I'd rather not. I just want to see how the rest of you all feel about having anything outside.
Are there setback issues? Is there some reason they can't extend do something to contain at least more of the chimney?
I don't understand why it can't be inside.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bottom line is that it could be inside on the first floor. Upstairs, it's a pretty small bedroom they're putting this chimney in. And won't fit terribly well up there. There you go. So, you know, I think they could just eliminate the second floor. They could eliminate the whole thing or pull it all inside or put a gas fireplace in. There's still plenty of options for them.
I agree. There are lots of options. And that closet door could scoot over and there could just be a little bit of a bump out for the flue to go up and beyond. Yeah. There are lots of examples of exterior chimneys, but this just doesn't have anything going for it because it's a gable facing, it's 2.5 stories. And it's raised because the floodplain. It's just like everything that could go wrong with a proposal for an exterior fireplace.
It's very visible from the town pier parking lot. If you go on street view, you get a perfect shot of the back of this building. So here's what I wrote, and you can adjust it. Fireplaces were never historically placed outside on a building of this style and period. The chimney should be on the interior. Yes, there are existing exterior chimneys in the OHD, but this doesn't mean we should approve more of them. This chimney, when actually built, will have to be even wider than what is shown to accommodate the first floor flue around the second floor fireplace. So I could leave it at that, maybe add something about there are still plenty of other options to put it inside or not have it. Or we could entertain the notion of just one small chimney on the outside.
Yeah, I think you've said it very well, Mickey.
Well, I'm still leaving it open. Do we want to allow a narrow exterior chimney, or do we just want to say we don't like it, period?
I think they've got options, and as you've pointed out, it could be either gas and really small, or still a fire and one flue and encased in the house. So it's lack of appropriateness and the extent of the options, I think, point to a different proposal.
Yep. Or I'm saying something like there are other options for providing a fireplace in this. For providing a fireplace, period. All right. Anything else on that one?
To answer Angus's question, it looks like there's plenty of room for setbacks concerns. So
yeah,
you could definitely, you're right, options.
Okay, we ready to move on?
Yes.
Okay. What do we have next? Next street. 7 New Street. Oh yeah. Oh no.
One Cambridge.
1 Cambridge, yeah. And Matt's not here.
So, Mr. Chair, I read all the comments, as you can see here, for the commission. There was a lot of agreement with you all on the height. So, and overpowering proportions. All right, let's look.
They've only made token changes to this one from what I can see. The height looks the same. Maybe it's come down a little, I can't tell, but it's basically a 3-story building, very busy on the streets facade.
Yeah, Mickey, I would also like to address the comment that he made when this came up before about how no one looks up when they're walking around town. I submitted to Holly this morning photographs of the streetscape here. As we all know, that the Athenaeum Park is right across the street. That is probably the most popular place to sit downtown by the public year round. There's, Arts Association sales going in there, all sorts of stuff. To have another or a building looming over it, I think is completely inappropriate. And then I think there's another angle too, Holly, that I sent in.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sent two.
Yeah. But you
This
see, I
is-
mean, even be so much higher than the post office. I mean, that's the most active area downtown.
I completely agree. And you know what, now that I see that picture there, I mean, what he's doing is he's duplicating all of the detail of that building right around the corner. So it's going to be this massive corner of 3-story identical structure.
And we don't want
Unfortunately-
that happening on the other side over towards Queequegs. I mean, if that started ballooning up to 3 floors over there, I mean, it would be a huge shame.
Well,
That building on the corner, I think is one of the most awkward buildings in town. I was sorry to see it go up, and every time I pass it, I just was like, and you're right. This is just wrapping it around the corner.
yeah, so it's literally identical in its detailing.
Yeah, well, the Eric's building doesn't have any additive massing, so it's
Yeah.
it's a little bit different, but this to loom over the park, the brick structure, the post office, I think is just wrong.
Yes. So here's what I wrote about this one. This building is still too tall and busy. It does not relate at all to the scale and character of Lower India Street or even neighboring South Water Street. The 3rd floor dormers add an entire level to the streetscape, which doesn't exist now. This application, along with other recent applications downtown, are very concerning in that they are attempting to significantly increase the height and scale of existing downtown structures. Each expansion is incrementally changing the character of downtown Nantucket from the present modest scale and character to the point where it will be unrecognizable. The building owners should not expect that they are entitled to greatly expand the capacity of their buildings, and the HDC is not obligated to approve such designs. A reasonably scaled addition would be acceptable, but nearly tripling the size is just too much. Recommendations are to remove the 3rd floor dormers from the front facade and reduce the dormer on the back. Reduce some of the fenestration at the street level and simplify the detailing. And I also noted the shutters may be attractive, but they add to the busy feel. So it's a little bit of lecturing, but we're getting all the same applications from Matt's office, from Emeritus. They're putting 3-story buildings in place of 1.5-story buildings, or 2 stories in some cases, but they're all expanding tremendously.
Yeah, the height should be all down by 15% or something.
Yeah,
Mickey, could you write in your notes too that something about that area being the hub of activity downtown and the looming over the Athenaeum garden?
Yep.
And Holly, can those 2 photographs that I submitted to you, can they be incorporated in the HDC presentation?
Yes, I can do that.
Thank you.
so it's very visible because of the activity in that area.
Yeah,
It's seen
Well-
from its distance.
And if there's any point to Lucy's point, if there's any place that you're going to have a vantage point where you stop and you're on a bench and you're looking at the landscape and the surroundings, this is what's going to be in front of you.
Yeah, and you can see it from a distance right across the park.
yeah. And if you're going to sit down and enjoy your lunch or whatever you're going to do, it's going to be in the Athenaeum.
Yep. And I also want to mention that identical building right around the corner, wrapping around.
Would be unfortunate.
So do you think I'm saying too much, a little off topic, or I guess it's on topic, but it's a little general? Is it okay to leave that paragraph in?
Oh, yeah.
I think the issue is getting to be systemic. It's not just one application. We've seen it, the one across, across the street and further down,
Mhm.
and then on the other side of the block. And they're just inappropriate. The town changes its character when everything gets to be this height.
Yeah, it's a problem, and it's just getting, so they haven't approved any of them yet. They didn't approve South Water Street. And, he's got that other pending application down on Easy Street. And this one, they're all essentially the same problem. So,
And some of these buildings don't have to be that high.
well, they're trying to put three floors in these buildings, and all of them. And that's, they don't have a right to have 3 floors. They know what they were buying when they bought it.
Yeah.
So that's, we don't have to give them 3 floors. Any other comments about this one? Okay. moving
Nothing
on.
further.
I feel like applications like that should be weeded out before they come to us and take our time. I mean, they just are inappropriate applications.
I know, but the staff can't really say that. They need their time in court. But
We'll be the ones.
that's right. It's our job, I guess.
Go Mickey.
We'll see. So next is 7 New Street. I think so.
Thought it was 7 East.
7 East Lincoln, I'm sorry. 7 East Lincoln. I skipped that one. Oh no, here it is. 7 East Lincoln. So they brought it down a little, changed some windows, and changed the lights on the garage door. They got rid of the transom over the side door. Comments?
Yes.
Lucy, go ahead.
Let's see, it says under doors, Essex green and white. I'm not sure, as we know that there's a house down on Orange Street that's got green and white exterior, the early 20th, late 19th century color combinations. I just want to make sure a door is completely white or completely green, not two-toned.
Doors, this green and white. Probably different doors, or one's green and one's white, but he's not very clear about that.
No, and then another question is the pergola, is that painted or natural to weather?
Where's the pergola?
It shows.
I mean, the
Oh,
vertical
sorry.
board?
Oh, no, excuse me, that's on the main house, sorry.
Okay.
The vertical board is actually white to match the house.
Okay,
So we didn't like the white boards before. We were hoping if they would be gray or something different, natural maybe.
yeah.
So we should comment about that too. So I'll tell you what I wrote here on this one. This building is too tall for this position relative to the main house. If it were back behind the house where you would expect it, the height wouldn't be a concern. But in the same plane as the front of the house, it is too massive. Either push it back at least 6 feet or lower the ridge several feet. I'll mention the color.
It says above that the foundation is stone faced. Under foundation,
It was, is it still, they still showing that?
yeah.
Can I just make a comment about those on the south side, the 2 windows on either side of the doors? I
Yeah.
think that's all appropriate. It also just reads as one piece of glass
Yeah,
going straight across. It's
I
not,
think it's just too busy on that.
yeah, they just need to go away.
Yeah, I kind of agree with it.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is no stone foundation. It's all white boards.
Okay, because up above on the, what they filled out.
Yeah, that must be the original. I guess they've changed it.
Okay, is there an AC unit for this garage apartment?
Not that they're showing.
I mean, if it's on the, should be screened if there is one.
Where is the AC?
Looks like they did shift it 1 foot back, but it's still,
I mean, now it's just barely, and it still looks like it's a little in front of the house.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you all agree about the positioning and the height and all that?
Yes,
There's no reason for it to be that far forward. Look at all the room that they have.
Exactly. They just want more yard, I'm sure. They could put it back, you know, you'd expect this building to be in the back corner,
Mhm.
where it should be.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree with that. I think that there are quite a few buildings there down in that area where the ancillary structures are definitely in back of the primary structures. I think that it's an exception if it is forward. I mean, it's not like there aren't some buildings down there, but most of them are behind the structure.
Great.
And your comments about the height, I think, are on target. This isn't a situation where a foot or 16 inches is going to make the difference. It's really got to come down a few feet.
Yeah.
And there isn't any, I mean, it won't change anything in the program.
You know, I would consider this building, it's not an ugly building. I'd consider this building if it were pushed back into the corner. It wouldn't be so dominant and in your face. But, you know, if they want a 2-story structure, they got to put it back, push it back. If they don't, if they want it forward, then change the program, because it probably wouldn't reduce the size of that second floor. So any other comments on this one? All right,
Nothing further.
moving on. 7 New Street.
so this is one that you all didn't get to review together. And I got some comments and read them into the record.
Yep.
So thank you for that.
I don't think you read in my comment that I didn't like the bump out in the front
Bump out.
for the front door.
Oh, okay. On the main house?
Yeah,
I apologize if I didn't do that.
I also want to make it very clear that we're not approving the fire pit, right? That's going to be on another application.
Yes, I'll actually note that. It should be obvious, but I will note it.
But it's,
So, you know, you can see there on the north elevation, the upper left, they still have a 4-panel sliding door, this is the old historic district. We don't like double sliders, let alone 4-panel sliders. And in a different elevation, they have a barn door concealing a triple slider. So they've improved the roof walk with the windows are now 6/6, which is better. They've made some other door changes. Lucy, I agree with you about this front door bump out. I actually not sure I mind it so much in this neighborhood. It's a little more casual or utilitarian in its nature. At first I said it wasn't appropriate. If you want, I'll say that again. I don't feel as strongly about it anymore, but if the rest of you want me to put it in, I will. Oh, and the
It
other,
still doesn't bother me. There's one that's 2 doors down at 21 Liberty Street.
I know, well, that's what made me think that it's inappropriate.
How is it? That's an historic bump out.
Oh,
where is it, Brooke?
It's I think it's like 21 Liberty Street,
Yeah.
maybe 20, 23.
Liberty. Oh, down from you. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
And this structure is not historic.
No. So the other issue right there was the west elevation. They removed all those windows on that. Well, yeah, there's 2 million windows, and they've removed the glazing on that lower half of the back wing. So I commented on that. I said, north elevation still has a 4-unit slider changed to a single door with windows. East, triple slider behind sliding barn doors, changed to doored windows. West, blank wall of rear wing needs windows, and 2 mold windows should be separated. And I'm adding the fire pit is not included in our review. This application has that. Anybody else want to add something to that?
All that sounds good.
Okay, let's go on to the studio. Yeah, my only comment on this was that mold unit. We don't like mold windows in the OHG, so I just said separate mold windows in the west elevation.
Good.
Any other thoughts? Pretty simple. Okay.
There was a lot of talk about that barn door that faces out on the other street, so that's better.
Yeah, I like that change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the mold doesn't bother me. I mean, it's
It doesn't really
a
bother me.
lot
but
better than 3.
It's better than 3, but it's easy to separate them. Why not just do it? All right. Moving on. 41B Cliff Road. Pool and hardscape. Where is this? Do we have a
Lowell Place.
I have 41B Cliff Road on the agenda, but I don't have a viewing.
Yeah. I didn't see it there. Let me.
41B Cliff Road. Where is that?
So this is no business.
Pool and hardscape.
All right. So you guys didn't see it either, huh?
No.
Yeah. It's not in this. All right. Hold on. That means I need to look in the system. Just bear with me. Let's see.
Well,
In the meantime, you want to do 14A?
yeah, let's do 14A in the meantime. Yeah. Holly, you can keep looking for the other one.
Okay.
14A. So I could I'm going to share my screen and I can show 14A.
I got it.
Okay.
Oh, Matt's here. Just let him in.
Oh, good. Hey, Matt, we're just starting to do 14A. Lowell, if you're here.
I am. I'm so sorry. I got held up, and I don't know if you reviewed the other one.
We did look at India, Cambridge already.
Okay. Well, okay. How'd that go?
Not really good.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll just sort of.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I got hung up, and I apologize for being late. I literally
That's all right, but
did it as quickly as I could.
I mean, if you want, Matt, I'll send you my comments that we're gonna, Holly will be reading. But it's basically it hasn't changed much. It's still too tall. It's still too much. It's becoming endemic that a lot of applications downtown are starting to ask for changing 1 to 2 story properties, turning them into 3 stories, and it's going to totally change Nantucket's downtown character. We're not happy about that. So we think it's too much program, too tall. 3rd floor should be eliminated almost entirely.
So yeah, the one thing that the board was saying was just the proportion of it. So I think we addressed the proportion component, but obviously, yeah, I mean, if your 3rd floor is the sticking point, then, obviously the revision, didn't address that. And it is just, again, we could probably debate that, and maybe now is not the time to do that. And again, I wish I had the opportunity to be there. I'm sorry. But, again, I think it is, downtown does have a lot of 2nd and 3rd floor, spaces. So anyways, it's not, I don't think it's, I think that the consistent theme down there is, 2-story buildings, but.
Well, one thing we don't want to see is every building downtown to become 3 stories. And that's the way it's starting to look like they're going.
Right. Okay, well, sorry, I'm choking because I'm so.
Right.
Anyways, I'll let you guys continue.
Yeah, we're just starting 14A Lowell, and I looked at this earlier, and I'm going to actually, I think Victoria's here. Matt, do you want to say anything about this?
I'd like to, but I think I'm choking.
Want me to come back to you?
Yeah, if you could.
All right. So Victoria, are you listening in? Do you want to say anything?
Hi, thank you. Yes, I am listening in, and there are definitely things I really appreciate in this revision. I do like having the plate height a little higher. I really appreciate the splitting of the dormers on the south elevation. I guess my overall feeling is I still feel like the cottage is really hard to find in this structure. And that's hard for me as a neighbor. I'm just accustomed to this being a cottage. I'd love to see something that feels more like a cottage there. And I'm not sure how to do it. I'm not a designer, so I'm not sure how to do it. It just still feels a little too big, and the dormers feel a little too big, and the pitch feels a little steep. And I'd just love to see the cottage come back a little more.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Thank you for those comments.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to chime in?
I can echo that. I think the character of the street is sort of the cottage bungalow, and the steep roof lines and domination of the main roof lines with dormer, I think changed the character.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, if I could just chime in or just make a quick comment if I could.
Sure, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry. I think I swallowed a bug or a gnat or something. Sorry. So what we did change the pitch. We lowered the pitch. So we did take your comments, HEC's comments, and try to address some of their concerns. And so part of that was actually dropping the roof pitch. And we also thought it was still think that it's important that there's an eave, that we have a consistent eave line, that it's not a flush dormer situation. Now, I don't know if, and this is kind of a question for you, is we could go with a shallower pitch, something that might match the roof pitch of the existing front, gable structure, if you will, but that would likely translate into a flush shed dormer situation. And so our thought was that in an effort to try to maintain the scale of the existing structures, if you will, we thought that it was important to maintain a consistent eave line, an unbroken eave line, if you will. And therefore it requires us to take that second floor roof rafter system and set it basically on the second floor deck, and then have the dormers on either side on the north and south to be set back. And so that was that was the design intent. Ironically, the quote unquote steeper pitch is in an effort to maintain a lower eave line. I guess that was the thought process behind it, because the alternative is you'd be going to potentially shallower roof pitch, but you would also then have flush shed dormers. So just want to give you some of the background thought on it.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else want to say anything about this?
Yes. Hold on here. Where's the fixed awning?
Where are you looking at the window door schedule?
I'm looking at the application.
No,
That's
I
fixed
understand. Well, I can only refer. Could you show me the application where you're seeing that, please? And I can provide some.
Right, but windows area. Fixed awning. Where's that?
Those typically refer to gable end windows that are basically fixed. So maybe the schedule, the window door schedule will probably identify that. It was probably one of the smaller 4 lights. Oh, there it is, the 3 light. And so that, I believe, is in the foundation. So they're just basically not operable windows.
Oh, okay. All right, and then on the plot plan, you have a 4x6 equipment pad. What's
Mhm.
that for?
I believe it's for condensers.
Okay, and so that's going to need screening then.
Right, we were going to be in with a landscape plan. We probably should have just left that off, but we'll be in with a landscape plan showing fencing, HVAC equipment as well. So we wouldn't. I think that was just a leftover from. Again, that's something that would be found in the landscape plan. So if you want to omit that, we can omit that.
Yeah, I think those condensers should be fenced in somehow so that the neighbors don't have to look at them.
Sure. Well, I'm fairly certain we're going to have fencing all the way around the property. So sometimes we'll put the condenser locations on the plan just so we don't. It's not like a last minute catch, if you will.
Hey, Matt, I have a question for you, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Would you be able to provide, because this is an existing structure, and of course this is altering the existing structure. I think it would be helpful to show the elevations of the existing structure versus just the previously submitted. So it gives that chronology of how this is being evolved.
Sure.
Thank you.
Oh, I also have another question. You have a block foundation going in, And then down below, you say the foundation is natural. Is the foundation going to be parged?
I think the intent is to try and match what the existing is. I know that they've talked that Linda had mentioned that she's found and I think Joe Topham was doing another project on this street, and he said that he found a source that is still producing those types of concrete blocks. I think he only produces though like 8 a week or something like that, and I just I'm not confident that we're going to be able to use that supplier. So I think our intent was that this would just be a CMU block, just left, natural, to weather with not being parged. I think if you
May I
parged
speak to
it-
that for a second?
Oh, sure. Who's that?
Yeah. So the rock face block, you can actually get veneers, and they look for all the world exactly like what was produced back then. There's a project that I did up on Howard Court, and you can probably you can go up there and you probably won't be able to tell what was original and what was the applied rock face veneer. So if that's helpful.
Yeah. I mean, I think the intent would be to, thanks, Brooke. I think the intent would be to try to match that as much as, as accurately or closely as possible what the existing block style was. I just, I remember hearing Linda talking about like just the infrequency with which those are produced from that particular source. So I was just like, I don't want to commit to that in case we can't get it. But if we can find something that looks just the way it is, that's our intent.
Yeah.
I'm concerned that that block foundation would be showing up,
Mhm.
visible.
You don't want to see the block, or you do?
No, I don't. Some sort of treatment so that the regular old concrete block is not visible.
Yeah, I would agree that I wouldn't want to see just plain standard flat-faced 8-inch concrete block. If it's that stone face, that would be interesting. Otherwise, I would just parge the whole thing just to
Yeah,
smooth it off.
Okay.
Angus,
I
did
have
you-
I have another thought, please.
Go ahead, Brooke.
I think one thing that would help this building feel a little bit more like a cottage, and it would I have a minimal effect on the usability of the second floor space, is to drop the shed dormers down. It looks like there are 2 rows of shingles over the windows. So I think that would be, just a small, again, it's a small thing, but I think it helps with the presentation to make it feel a little bit more subdued. Right now, the dormers feel a little tall, but it would not be a real material change to everything else, and it would, I think, be helpful to help with the cottage feel of the building. And if it drops down, you might actually be able to lower the main pitch too, which would again, help this building feel a little bit more subdued in its within its context without really doing much to affect the program on the inside. So anyway, that's
Sure.
my thought for that.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Brooke beat me to it. Those were going to be my suggestions is drop the main, the eave a little bit, drop the pitch to more like a 8 or 9, drop the windows, the dormer roof closer to the heads of the windows so there isn't any shingle above. And all that I think will help it feel more cottagey. It would be great to see the photos, as Holly had mentioned, or the original, what's existing, to make sense of the front porch. It's almost, they're 2 different scales, and it's reminding me of the hood ornament thing that happened in Codfish Park, where the old structure is just like a tag on the front, and it looks like the peak of that existing structure is what is holding the triple windows facing the street up high. It feels like those are just trying to get, you know, above that peak and below the other peak. And that's what might be driving some of the verticality here. Maybe think about hipping the front porch or something to be able to bring that line down so the windows can come down.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's exactly what it is. Angus, trying to work around that existing front portion. If we had some flexibility with that, it would certainly make things a bit easier. So that is the driver. And again, the thought was, okay, the less that we're doing to that piece, the better. But if you're open to that, we certainly would be as well.
I feel like at some point you lose so much of the original structure that you know, you may as well make it work for the new structure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's parts of it that I think are getting there. I mean, I think exposed rafter tails is a nice addition, and but if we have some flexibility with that front entry, that's certainly a hip would certainly like a really shallow pitched hip, like a 4, because that driver is that those sills or the header of those windows is higher, obviously, than that of the rest of the second floor windows. But we looked at a couple different versions of that second floor fenestration, specifically on the front, and they were like spread apart. It just looked awkward. It really is a function of that front gable. So
I think that those are great suggestions. They're things that I hadn't thought of myself. I mean, I did think that this building was pretty good. I mean, it's now looking a little bit more standard and more appropriate for the neighborhood. But I think all the suggestions that were made will make it even more so. Will make it fit in even better with just a slightly shorter height. You know, by definitely dropping those dormer plates, Matt, and I think they're all right that you can also in the meantime drop the ridge through the mechanism of changing that front porch to a hipped roof. I think that will be I think you'll make a lot of people happy by bringing all that down. It'll just change it, I think, enough to make people happy. So
gotcha.
I think those are good suggestions.
Great.
Mr. Chair, I had one other suggestion. Matt, I was just curious. I mean, I understand the intention is to take a bungalow and get some more program out of it, but from a architectural style perspective, have you looked at other bungalows on the island? Because there's quite a few of them that have been added onto over the years that are done, where they still emulate a bungalow, not necessarily changing the style, if you will. Just curious if you looked at anything.
I mean, I have looked at other bungalows, but then I feel in an effort to be, it seemed as if it was important, given the lengthy discussion we've had about this particular street, that there's, a specific bungalow language to this street, and we focus almost exclusively on that in an effort not to depart too far away from that. But yeah, I mean, I think that the existing, if you look at the other structures on the street, they're almost there. I guess you'd categorize them as bungalow, but they're not. They're their own bungalow, if there's a way to say that. They're kind of like dialed back, and so I can look at other, other examples on island that are not exactly, what's on the street, but sure, happy to look at that.
I can definitely understand that having the gable forward with the existing is kind of difficult, or you see a lot of the bungalows that actually have the shed dormer forward. But I was just curious. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, I think having the ability to alter that roof will certainly open up a lot of possibilities for us. So I think that will, again, the rationale behind it was like, okay, we'll take a hands-off approach to that front piece, because that's going to one of the more predominant features. But if we have flexibility or latitude in that area, then we'll take advantage of it.
As far as I'm concerned, I would go that direction. I think it just left as a remnant of the old building. It feels almost awkward. So I think you could improve the whole package by changing that.
Okay.
Anything else, anybody?
No.
Okay. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Victoria.
Thanks. Sorry I was late for the other one, and I'll keep again with India Street. I guess we're probably just going to debate whether or not, like I said, every building in town being 3 stories or not is a bigger question. But anyways, appreciate your feedback, and we'll see how it goes.
All right.
All right. Thank
Great.
you.
Thanks, Matt.
Bye.
Okay, so now we're moving on to the view pack I didn't see before.
I found it. I think this was just put in as a view, and that might have been the reason why it was not in the packet, but there
Now
should
we
have
looked
been.
at this one, yes.
Yeah, so you all saw these before. Let me find it. There was a concern on the visibility from this angle on Cliff Road.
And this, Holly, this is just the pool and hardscape, not the house.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, we didn't have much comment on that as far as I remember, because it was not probably much visibility.
No, you'll be happy to know that even though it's a different COA, but they didn't propose these crazy windows. They're not
Good.
proposing any changes to that facade.
Good. That is
So-
good.
It'll look like it is now.
Do we have anything more? Well, so what is going on with the hardscape? Do we want to look at that, or do we care? It's not visible, is it?
Now, like I said, I believe this was just a view, so there wasn't any proposed changes. It was trying to see the visibility, and I don't think there's any. There might be some pictures in here. It's this angle that there was concern on what you could see back here, and then there. I don't know if they changed anything to the grade.
What's that bubbling all along the south side of the,
That's it.
Down here. Yeah.
Correct.
is that path? Are those stepping stones? Or is it a proposal for hedges?
It's privet.
Well,
I don't think they've addressed that.
Yeah,
This was the concern was in relationship to the proposed privet along the property line, along with this stone retaining wall. What are you going to see? What's the visibility?
what is the height of the retaining wall? Do we know?
And that was also another question too. I don't
The
see that
retaining on
on
our
here.
side or their side? So looks like maybe we don't see the retaining wall if you look down below.
Yeah, it looks like it. It's hard to tell. Okay.
it looks like it drops into the applicant's.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't have any issues with it.
Yeah, I think we can move on. I think we're good with this. Thanks. So I have next on the new business agenda is 33 Center Street, temporary door change.
What does that mean? Temporary door change?
Exactly
Is the one
that.
we looked at already?
No,
There's nothing more permanent than the temporary.
right. I will go right back to that. So and they didn't include it either.
33 Center?
Did you guys have it in the packet?
No.
Yes, I did, and I saw there's a photograph. What they want to do is put a temporary door
Yes.
it's a jewelry store or something that's called the Vault. They want to put a metal door on the building that is completely inappropriate for downtown.
We do have this in our packet and it's labeled 5 Chester Street.
Okay,
Chestnut.
that's why.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it is, I saw that and I was like, what is going on with this application? It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's completely,
Just
So to
no.
give you all a little history, they tried to do a like kind replacement, which I denied, obviously, because it's not a like kind. They own, you're looking at, this is the property itself, but they own 33 and 5, the same property owners. And this is, I guess, the proposed door that they want to have on there temporarily for the season. I see everybody shaking
All right.
their head.
Why are we even talking about this?
I know, this is crazy.
Let's move
What?
on. This is totally not appropriate.
And that's, I believe, what Kathy was looking for, your comments, before this is a formally submitted to the commission. That was what I was told.
So is this an application that's going in front of the board?
I believe this was just to get feedback from you all from a historic
Okay,
structures
well, I think
perspective.
we can all be fairly unanimous in saying this is totally inappropriate.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. That's what I needed.
Hopefully it won't come back.
All right.
Unless there's a neon border,
Thanks, Angus.
uplighting.
Uplighting, right?
They do have uplighting on the sign, as a matter of fact. I checked.
All right, so the next one is 27 Westchester.
I wasn't sure on this. Is the spa sitting on top of the decking or is it recessed in?
Good question.
And I also
Well,
want,
we can ask for it to be set in, so then it's not a question.
Yeah. They would prefer that too.
I mean, for all you know, it could have been plastic hot tub put thing right on top of the deck.
Yeah.
And then I had another question about, we get back to lighting, because this is visible from, well, right from Sunset Hill. The photographs actually are very good.
Oh, so we can see, yeah, from Sunset Hill, we'll be looking down into the back of this, isn't it?
That's right.
Okay.
That's why I'm concerned about lighting, or maybe should we say anything about screening?
Well, let's start at the beginning. What do we feel about the spa itself?
No. I mean,
Right across the street
mean,
from the oldest house.
yeah,
and,
I
like,
mean, you
most travel.
literally
Yeah.
stand up there, you could spit into the spa.
So looking down over that railing, it's a very steep bank, but it does look like there are pictures from there. It looks like that you're looking right down and they'll be very
You
visible.
can see everything. It's all open. You can see everything.
Yeah, that's very
Totally inappropriate.
Okay. Are we basically saying it very visible and not appropriate?
Well, the pergola, I'm fine with.
Yeah,
So there's a spa and a pergola. Okay. Yep.
And you know, maybe they could extend a roof from the shed over the spa to act as a visual break. But otherwise, I think the spa is going to be fairly visible.
And this is a 1920s A style.
This is the one that Botticelli redid, right?
I believe so,
Yes.
with the driveway.
Is it?
Yes, it's been changed a lot.
And don't quote me, but I want to say there was a proposed spa last year or so, maybe on one of these properties. And there was a concern about visibility looking down from the oldest house area.
You
this
know,
looks like the most visible spot.
it's visible, but you know, this says existing shed there. I don't see that in the photographs. Did they remove the shed?
You can see it in that top right. The roof almost,
Right there.
yeah, the roof looks like a deck almost. Like a
Oh,
roof
right here.
there. Yeah,
Oh, you're right. But we'd be looking to the left of that,
yep.
and the deck is pretty visible, right?
Well, you go to the other views and you look right down. Yeah.
Okay, I see it. Yep, now I see the
Right there.
shed. Excuse me 1 second. I need to step out for a second.
Because that's the timber piece that keeps people from their cars not falling off the side of Sunset Hill. That's
Oh, right here.
In the
Yeah.
foreground, yeah.
So are you, and you are okay with the proposed pergola?
not in love with it, but
Yeah,
I'm fine with it.
Okay, sorry about that. So are we still saying spa is very visible? We don't want to see the spa, but the pergola is okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Next.
I'm gonna have to go after this one, sorry.
Thank you for gracing us with your,
Oh, I turned off my
Company,
camera 'cause I was eating, sorry.
Jason, do you want us to look at any of the other ones before you leave?
That's fine. I'm sorry. It's just work is getting busy. It's normal work and then starting to open everything and
Yeah, busy time. All right, 9 Lily Street.
Do you all remember this one that Linda brought
Yeah.
for you? Before they started to do some work, because they did get the approval. The HTC did not approve those back windows. I don't know if
where
you-
are those in the elevations?
Yeah, I'm trying to see that for you. So it was these windows, and that's the other, no, I think these back windows on the left-hand side. You've got no present, no elevations proposed, huh?
Is she here?
No, I don't think so. Unfortunately.
there's no hedge. That's like a little shrub that I'm sure is not gonna last very long.
I remember that we talked about putting doing a window situation here.
Was this the house?
I think so.
Yeah, it was-
Yeah, there's no reason that the original windows can't stay there.
all right, so let's see. Not the same windows as the main body of the original house. These are weights and balances, which are broken. No old glass in these windows. Kitchen is so small that this is the only area that can contain a counter space. There are 2 of the same windows on the south side of the kitchen that will not be changed to a similar size, but are not having any counter space given in the size and location. Those are those 2 windows that we saw on the far left
So
elevation
they
in
want
the
to,
back.
sorry, Holly.
Yep,
They're
no,
they want to replace the windows because of the counter. Have they?
Correct.
In my house, we have a counter that runs in front of the window.
Yep.
Well, that's what you do when you have
The
an
inside
empty
doesn't
window.
drive the outside and doesn't make windows
Mhm.
track.
Right.
Yeah, I've
So-
done that.
I'd like to just speak for a moment about the old window. I don't know why she's saying there's no old glass, except to make a better case for removing them. I was just there a couple of hours ago and looked at all the windows, and they're just beautiful old windows. They're Morrison tenon and pegged with old glass in every single window. I mean, it's a beautiful collection of windows, and I hope they're restoring all of them. And it just reinforced my thoughts that that they need to be retained.
So you were just there, Angus.
Those hedges, the neighbor was nice enough to let me, stick my head between the hedges right up to the windows and inspect them. And I looked at all of them.
Great, good job. Okay, so our comments on this one will be, this is 9 Lily, not in favor of removing or changing windows. They can be, counters can be placed in front of windows if needed.
And they are historic.
Windows are historic.
Should have a window survey.
Mhm.
I think we asked for that last time.
I believe so.
I think we did.
And I think the HTC did too, for if she was going to come back.
Okay, Very good.
Guys. See you next week.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Jason.
Jason.
Sorry.
See ya.
No, you're fine.
10 Candle House Lane, fire pit.
That's all we're seeing here lately.
Boy, they really scare me.
All right, let's see. No date of the structure indicated on the application.
I didn't see a site plan with, a plan showing where this was proposed for. So
I don't see one either.
I would hold this till the application is complete.
I agree with you, Angus. This is, to me, is a sloppy application.
Who is this? Is this Linda?
No,
No.
this is Tori.
Oh, it's Tori. Well, here's a picture that shows proposed patio fire pit. But we should see it on a plan. We should
Yeah,
see the
We have
location.
no idea where this stuff's going on the property.
10 Candle House. Okay, that must be an infill because this says it's vacant. I don't think. Yeah,
Yeah, I think this is a pretty new building or
yeah,
greatly modified old building.
yep. Non-contributing. All right, need a site plan. And 3 Sylvia Lane.
All right, so are we gonna leave it at that? Do we want to say we don't like the fire pit? What else was this? Fire pit?
Well, I think what we need to do is we need to ask for a proper site plan showing the location, and then we can comment on it.
Yeah, I think we need to ask them to hold this application until a proper plan has been submitted.
Yep.
And is that picture of the fire pit? I mean, is this a rectangular or square pit? Like, could we have some drawings of what it's going to be?
The site plan will tell us.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
dimensions.
I think we really have this doesn't deserve much attention at the moment.
No.
Nope.
Terrible.
Let's go on. 3 Sylvia Lane.
Shed addition. That's
Existing.
it.
Those are all existing.
So it's replacing the doors with 3 windows?
Yeah.
I'm seeing the casings just one butted up next to the other, so they're not sharing.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'd rather see shingles in between those.
Yeah. Who's fitting this? Tori.
I don't know how visible this is. I mean, it's way in the back, according to the locus map.
Will you see it from North Beach or back here?
No, because the garage door faces forward, and it looks like Sylvia Lane ends about halfway through the building.
But the windows that Angus is talking about face the back, kind of towards North Beach, right?
It says south elevation, which faces Sylvia Lane.
Oh, south. So they're taking out the garage doors. Okay, okay. Huh.
In
Yeah.
that,
Anyway, I don't mind it.
good point, Brooke. I don't think they'll
There's
be
there's
visible.
mold windows all over the place down there. So, and this is such an incidental building and an incidental location. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, shut
Well,
my mouth.
We can, there's no harm in commenting to say the windows are shown paired together in an awkward way. That, there should be either mullion or space between them.
Right. Yes, they do. They look like they're casing to casing.
Yes.
So either a true mull or shingle spacer.
All right, that's simple enough. The rest of it's fine. Okay.
All good with me.
All right, and one more, 48 center color change.
I didn't understand this application.
Yeah, the circled part is only the lower half. I can't imagine the upper half staying white and the lower half becoming mustard yellow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. I looked up that this building is dated around 1780. And as we all know, that this used to be called the White House. In fact, there was a sign in the lower corner of the front of the building towards the JC that said the White House for years. There's photographs, Holly, that I sent you. I just don't get this application.
Not really either.
It's another sloppy application. What's going in here is a surf, clothing, and cafe.
Right, but that's not our purview. So,
Right.
so we can comment on whether the color is appropriate. And it looks like the way it's circled, this would be a two-tone structure. So I think that alone warrants a deeper dive. And then if there's any kind of historic, designation of this building as the White House, the applicant is obliged to prove otherwise. Otherwise, I think it needs to stay white.
If you Google it, it will come up as, or if you Google the White House Nantucket, it will come up. There were two versions of the sign on the building, one with a black background with white lettering, one with white background with black lettering. Maybe some of you know that Stephen Kanya, otherwise known as Spanky, his parents ran this for a long time.
Well, maybe it's on an HDC survey or something like that.
All right, so I'm saying the historic reference to this is the White House, so it should stay white.
Right.
And especially not two-tone, if that's what's desired.
So I just briefly looked, Mr. Chair, to see if there was a survey recorded on Macris. I don't have any. That doesn't mean that there isn't an HDC survey. They might be here in the office. And then looking at NHL data 448 indicated that it was a convenience store, but 1800 in a timber frame, which obviously has been added on to. But yeah, I would say diving a little bit more into the history, and definitely, yes, the color, this color may be appropriate, but not two-toned.
Isn't this Nina Hellman's?
Yeah, yes. Yes.
All right, so we're not in favor of yellow. Mostly because of the reference, or we just don't like yellow here?
Well, I think Brooke brings up a good point. The way that they're indicating on this photo, it would be two-toned. Do we have any historically appropriate, historically significant two-tone structures in Nantucket? I don't believe we do.
No. That's a good question.
Yeah, as well as the historical reference from what Lucy's brought up of this being the White House. That would be helpful, but it would have been nice to have some historical information indicated on the application as well.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah.
Well, and also some indication of, is this the whole facade or is it the lower half? And if it is two-tone, some examples of other two-tones in the old historic. I can't think of any.
Well, there's no date either. I mean, frankly, as I said before, that this application is really sloppy.
Yep.
Can we resist judgments like that? If it's incomplete, say it's incomplete.
Okay, it's incomplete.
I think saying something is sloppy it's a little bit too it's not the kind of public language that we need to use for these applications. I think that saying incomplete is perfectly acceptable. So.
Well, I apologize. I find that in a way, I think it's a shame that people who are employed to submit applications are wasting our volunteer time.
I couldn't agree with you more on that. Still, I think that just saying something is incomplete and then asking for the things that we need is probably enough. And yes, it gets tiresome as hell.
Yep. Point well taken, Brooke. Thank you for that. Are we done with this one?
Yes.
All done.
All done. Any other, do you want to, we still have more on the other business discussion of inadequate screening and outdoor lighting.
I think we kept that on.
We already did that.
We
Yeah.
did, but I think there's a reason why we wanted to keep it on. I can't remember, but we can take it off.
Well, I think the last meeting, Brooke and Angus were going to look into doing this checklist thing, and
Yes.
it seems to still be lingering.
Yeah, how'd that go, Angus?
I was just going to ask you if you were able to polish up the details on that.
You're too slow, McLeod.
Should I choose one person, or can you guys handle this one?
Brooke really is more qualified. I think I'll have to let that go. Brooke, maybe we just get together on this one and
Yes.
see what we
Yes.
can figure out.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
And I guess I would say for the two of you, just let me know when you want to put it back on the agenda, and I'll have Kadeem do that. And thank you very much.
So there's a resilient Nantucket.
Yeah, I think this was put on maybe because we didn't have any, but basically it's just to wrap it up. We're getting at the end of the MVP action grant. We'll have our final report, the final design guidelines, and the final toolkit submitted to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts through their energy office that handles the MVP program. And again, just thank you for anybody that participated and provided comments. Nantucket received that action grant because they could see it duplicated in other coastal communities. So, and it's always a revolving or an ongoing document, if you will. It's not going to just sit on the shelf. It will be utilized and be also incorporated from the granular side, from the buildings to the overall area plan, if you will, for the coastal resiliency plan. So, and resilient Nantucket tagline is not going to go anyway. So,
Okay. Well, thank you, Holly. That was a good program. Is a good program. So, all right. Moving down to motion to approve comments.
So moved.
Seconded by
Second.
Brooke. All those in favor, Lucy, Brooke, and Angus.
All right.
Aye.
I am too. And how about a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Seconded. All those in favor, Lucy, Brooke, and Angus.
Aye.
Aye. All right, gang. Thanks very much.
thank
Thank you.